There are moments in life when you sit in silence and ask yourself, why do I keep ending up here? Maybe it's the same financial struggle that seems to replay like a broken record. Maybe it's relationships that always end in betrayal or disappointment. Or maybe it's the haunting feeling of knowing deep down that you are capable of more, yet year after year, your life doesn't reflect the greatness inside of you. We often look outward for answers. We blame the economy, the government, family background, or lack of opportunities. Some people point fingers at their upbringing, saying, if only I had been born into a rich family, my life would be different. Others curse their circumstances, insisting life is unfair. The system is rigged. Nothing works for people like me. But what if the biggest obstacle between you and the life you dream of is not outside, it is inside? What if the real battleground is not your environment but your mind? That hidden battleground is the subconscious mind. The subconscious is the silent architect of your destiny. It is the force shaping how you think, how you act, how you interpret the world around you, and ultimately, the results you get in life. Science tells us that as much as 95% of our daily decisions and behaviors are driven by the subconscious. That means the majority of your life is not being directed by your conscious, logical thinking, but by automatic patterns buried deep inside you. Think of the subconscious as the operating system of your life. Just as a phone or computer runs on software that determines what it can or cannot do, your subconscious is programmed with beliefs, habits, and perceptions that silently run your daily life. If your subconscious has been programmed with fear, scarcity, and limitation, no matter how hard you try, you'll keep running into invisible walls. But if it is programmed with faith, abundance, courage, and self-worth, your life begins to flow in alignment with success. Here's the remarkable truth: your subconscious mind does not argue, it obeys. If you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, nothing ever works out for me, your subconscious takes those words as orders and shapes your reality to match. On the other hand, if you train yourself to declare, I am capable, I am worthy, I attract opportunities, everything is working together for my good, your subconscious begins to open doors you never imagined possible. This is why two people can grow up in the same neighborhood, face the same struggles, yet end up with completely different lives. One person constantly says, people like us don't succeed. Life is hard, and their subconscious faithfully creates a hard life. The other says, this environment won't define me, I'm destined for more, and their subconscious begins aligning opportunities, mentors, and ideas that lead them to breakthrough. The subconscious does not care whether what you feed it is true or false, positive or negative, empowering or destructive. It simply accepts repeated input as fact and acts on it. That is why your life today is nothing more than the harvest of seeds planted in your subconscious yesterday. And the life you will live tomorrow will be the harvest of seeds you are planting today. So the question becomes, what kind of seeds are you planting? The story of two seeds. Imagine two farmers standing side by side, holding bags of seeds. One farmer plants seeds of thorns, weeds, and poison. The other plants seeds of fruit, flowers, and nourishment. The soil does not reject either one. It does not argue with the farmer and say, wait, these seeds are destructive, I won't accept them. No, the soil simply accepts whatever is planted and produces it abundantly. Your subconscious is that soil. It does not argue. It does not discriminate. It simply produces whatever you repeatedly plant into it, through your words, your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs. If you feed it fear, it multiplies fear. If you feed it confidence, it multiplies confidence. If you feed it images of failure, it will design scenarios that confirm failure. But if you feed it images of success, health, peace, and abundance, it will quietly rearrange your actions, habits, and environment to produce those outcomes. Why willpower isn't enough? Now, here's why many people fail to change their lives. They rely only on willpower. Willpower is like paddling a canoe against a strong current. It works for a while, but eventually you get tired and drift back. That current is your subconscious programming. If it is set to scarcity, fear, or procrastination, your willpower may help you for a week or two. But soon you'll slide back to your default pattern. Real transformation does not happen through sheer willpower. it happens through subconscious reprogramming. When the current itself begins to flow in your favor, you don't have to struggle to stay afloat. Success becomes natural. Discipline becomes automatic. Confidence becomes second nature. That is the power of harnessing your subconscious mind, the invitation to transformation. So I ask you again, what if you could consciously reprogram your subconscious to align with the life you desire? What if instead of being chained by fear, you were fueled by faith? What if instead of repeating patterns of failure, you created cycles of success? What if instead of surviving, you began to thrive? It's not only possible, it's within your reach right now. In this journey, we will explore the hidden science of the subconscious, how childhood and society planted scripts in your mind, why resistance and self-sabotage show up whenever you try to change, tools like affirmations, visualization, meditation, journaling, prayer, and gratitude that can rewire your subconscious. Stories of people who transformed their lives by harnessing this power, and most importantly, a blueprint for designing the life you were meant to live. This is not just another motivational idea, it is the very foundation of all transformation. Because until you change the subconscious, your conscious efforts will always struggle. But when you align the subconscious with your vision, life begins to flow with effortless momentum, so buckle up. Open your heart. Prepare your mind. The journey to harnessing your subconscious and transforming your life for the better begins now. The science of the subconscious, understanding the invisible engine of your life. When most people hear the phrase subconscious mind, they think of something mystical, vague, or even magical. Some imagine it as a mysterious spiritual force hidden deep within us. Others dismiss it entirely, believing only in what they can see and touch. But the subconscious is neither mystical nor imaginary, it is a scientifically observable reality that governs almost everything you do. To harness its power, you must first understand how it works. Because you cannot transform what you don't understand. The two layers of the mind, think of your mind as an iceberg floating in the ocean. The tip of the iceberg, the small part you see above the water, is your conscious mind. This is where logical thinking, decision-making, and short-term memory reside. The conscious mind is powerful, but it is also limited. It can only hold a few thoughts at a time, and it is easily distracted. Beneath the surface, however, lies the massive foundation of the iceberg, the subconscious mind. This hidden layer stores your long-term memories, habits, emotions, beliefs, fears, instincts, and even automatic body functions like breathing or heartbeat regulation. While your conscious mind processes maybe 40 to 50 bits of information per second, your subconscious processes millions of bits every second. This is why when you learn to drive, it feels difficult at first. Your conscious mind is fully engaged. Check the mirror, press the brake, turn the wheel. But after months of practice, driving becomes automatic. Why? Because the subconscious took over. It recorded the patterns and now runs them without effort. In other words, your subconscious is the autopilot system of your life. Once something is programmed, it runs without question. The programming of the subconscious, here is a sobering truth, your subconscious was programmed long before you had the power to choose. Between birth and the age of 7, your brain operates mostly in a theta brainwave state. This is the same brainwave associated with hypnosis and deep meditation. In this state, children absorb information like sponges without filtering or questioning. If a parent repeatedly tells a child, "You're stupid," the child doesn't argue or critically analyze, it simply accepts the statement as truth and stores it in the subconscious. That programming then becomes the lens through which the child interprets life. Even as an adult, that subconscious belief may whisper, "I'm not smart enough. I'll fail anyway," sabotaging opportunities before they begin. The reverse is also true. A child who hears, "You're capable. You're loved. You can achieve anything," grows up with a subconscious foundation of confidence and resilience. But here's the challenge, even if your early programming was negative, your subconscious still obeys it faithfully, unless you take deliberate steps to reprogram it. The subconscious and habits. Have you ever set a New Year's resolution only to give up after a few weeks? You told yourself, "I'll go to the gym. I'll start eating healthy. I'll save more money." For a while, you did it. But then, slowly, you slip back into old patterns. Why does this happen? Because your conscious mind made a decision, but your subconscious mind was still running the old program. And since the subconscious controls about 95% of your daily actions, it always wins. The subconscious thrives on repetition. That is why habits, good or bad, are so hard to break. If you repeatedly grab junk food when stressed, your subconscious wires that pattern in. If you repeatedly procrastinate when faced with challenges, your subconscious builds procrastination as your automatic response. The good news is that repetition works both ways. Just as bad habits get programmed in, new empowering habits can be programmed through consistent repetition until they become second nature. The science of neuroplasticity. For centuries, scientists believed that the brain was fixed, that once you reached adulthood, your neural pathways were set in stone. But research in the last few decades has shattered that myth. We now know about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself by forming new neural connections. Every time you think a thought, your brain fires neurons. When you repeat that thought, the connection between those neurons grows stronger. Over time, that thought becomes a dominant pattern. This means your brain is literally shaped by what you repeatedly think. Negative thoughts carve deep trenches of negativity. Positive thoughts carve highways of optimism and resilience. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a neuroscientist and researcher, puts it this way: neurons that fire together, wire together. So when you constantly dwell on fear, failure, and doubt, you reinforce those patterns. But when you focus on gratitude, faith, and vision, you literally rewire your brain for success. The role of the reticular activating system, RAS. Another fascinating piece of the subconscious puzzle is the reticular activating system, RAS. This is a bundle of nerves in your brainstem that acts like a filter, deciding which information gets through to your conscious mind. Stories of subconscious transformation. Let me illustrate with two stories: Jim Carrey and the $10 million check. Before he was famous, actor Jim Carrey was broke and struggling. He wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, dated it for 5 years in the future, and carried it in his wallet. Every day he visualized himself receiving that money. 5 years later, almost to the date, he received a film contract worth $10 million for Dumb and Dumber. His subconscious was trained to expect abundance, and his actions aligned to make it real. Henry Ford and the V8 engine. When Henry Ford told his engineers to design a V8 engine, they said it was impossible. But Ford refused to accept defeat. He repeatedly insisted, "Build it anyway." His unwavering belief trained his subconscious and theirs to reject limitation. After months of persistence, they finally figured it out. Today, the V8 engine is one of the most powerful in automotive history. These stories reveal a powerful truth: the subconscious does not differentiate between possible and impossible. It simply aligns with whatever belief is repeated with enough conviction and emotion. The trap of negative subconscious programming. Unfortunately, most people live their lives on autopilot, running subconscious programs they never chose. They wonder why they keep failing, why they attract the same toxic relationships, why money slips through their fingers, why fear and procrastination dominate their lives. It is because their subconscious was programmed with scarcity, fear, and limitation. Maybe parents said, "Money doesn't grow on trees." Maybe teachers said, "You'll never amount to anything." Maybe society whispered, "People like you don't succeed." Those voices became subconscious scripts. And unless you challenge and replace them, they keep running your life silently, like background software. The hope: reprogramming is possible. Here's the good news: your subconscious is programmable. It is not fixed. Just as repetition created your current patterns, repetition can create new ones. Through consistent practice, you can install new beliefs, new habits, and new emotional associations that align with your vision of success. This is the science of transformation. It is not about luck. It is not about chance. It is about deliberate reprogramming of the subconscious, and once you understand that your life is simply the reflection of your subconscious programming, you gain extraordinary power. You realize you are not a victim of fate, you are the architect of your destiny. The subconscious and childhood programming. The silent scripts written in childhood. From the moment you were born, your mind was open like fertile soil. Every word spoken around you, every tone of voice, every reaction of your parents, every smile or frown, planted a seed in your subconscious. Between the ages of 0 and 7, psychologists tell us that children live mostly in what is called the theta brainwave state, the same state adults enter during deep meditation or hypnosis. In this state, the conscious mind is not yet fully developed, and the subconscious mind absorbs everything directly, without filters. Imagine your mind at that stage as a sponge, soaking up beliefs, rules, and values without question. If your parents argued about money, you may have absorbed the belief that money causes conflict. If they said, "Life is hard," you may still carry that programming today, making everything in your life feel like a struggle, even when opportunities exist. If they told you that you were slow or not good enough, those words may still echo in your self-image decades later. On the other hand, if you were raised in an environment where encouragement, faith, and hope were the norm, your subconscious likely holds scripts of possibility. You may find yourself more confident and more resilient, even in the face of adversity. The subconscious does not argue, it simply accepts, stores, and repeats. This is why childhood is so critical. Those early years don't just pass by, they shape the invisible framework of who we believe we are and what we think is possible. How culture and family mold the subconscious. It's not only parents who influence our subconscious. Family traditions, community norms, religion, and culture all weave their way into the subconscious framework. If you grew up in a culture that emphasized humility to the point of silence, you may find it hard to speak up in meetings or negotiate your worth as an adult. If you grew up in a family where success was celebrated, you may naturally pursue achievement with confidence. If your household constantly repeated "we can't afford it," you may carry scarcity thinking into adulthood, even if you now earn well. Consider the child who grows up hearing, "Don't trust strangers." While it may protect them as a child, that belief, if never re-examined, could lead to difficulty forming friendships, networking, or opening up in relationships later in life. The subconscious does not question context. It only records the instruction and acts on it. Culture and family therefore act as the early programmers of your subconscious software. And here is the most liberating truth: what was once programmed can be reprogrammed. You do not have to live forever with beliefs that were planted in your mind when you were too young to choose for yourself. Trauma and the subconscious, for many, childhood wasn't simply neutral programming, it was marked by trauma. Words that cut deep, neglect that silently screamed, or moments of fear and abandonment leave lasting imprints on the subconscious mind. A child who was bullied might internalize "I am unworthy of love." A child whose parents divorced might silently conclude, "Love never lasts." These wounds don't vanish when the child grows, they simply go underground, shaping patterns in adult life. That's why someone may repeatedly find themselves in toxic relationships, or why another may constantly sabotage career opportunities. They are unconsciously replaying the unresolved scripts of childhood. But here lies another empowering truth: the subconscious, while deeply influenced by trauma, is also incredibly capable of healing. Through awareness, therapy, affirmations, visualization, and even spiritual practices, old wounds can be rewritten into empowering beliefs. What once felt like a curse can become the soil for strength and compassion. Many of the most resilient, inspiring leaders in history were once children who endured hardship but later transformed their subconscious scripts into sources of power. Identifying limiting childhood scripts. Before you can change subconscious programming, you must first identify it. One powerful exercise is to pause and ask yourself, what sentences did I hear repeatedly growing up? Money doesn't grow on trees, be quiet, boys don't cry, you'll never amount to much. How did my family handle success and failure? What was said about money, love, God, work, and dreams? What unspoken rules governed my household? Don't talk about feelings. Always put others first, never question authority. Write these down. Don't censor yourself. You'll quickly begin to see a pattern of scripts that still run your adult life. Awareness is the first step to transformation, because what you can name, you can reframe. Rewriting the script. Once you've identified those subconscious scripts, the next step is to reframe them. If you grew up believing "I'm not good enough," you can begin to replace that with affirmations like, "I am capable and worthy of success." I release old voices and choose new truth. If money was always linked with stress, you can begin to affirm, "Money is a tool for good in my life." I welcome abundance with peace. If love was linked with pain, you can shift to, I am worthy of healthy, lasting love. I attract relationships rooted in respect and joy. At first, your subconscious may resist, it has rehearsed the old script for years. But with repetition, emotion, and faith, new programming takes root. Just as the soil does not resist a new seed, your subconscious will eventually allow fresh beliefs to sprout and flourish. A story of transformation. Let me tell you about Elena. As a child, Elena grew up in a household where she was constantly compared to her older brother. Her brother excelled at school, while Elena struggled with grades. Her parents often sighed, "Why can't you be more like him?" That phrase burned into her subconscious, "I'm never enough." Fast forward 25 years, and Elena was still haunted by that belief. She worked hard, but no promotion felt satisfying, no relationship ever felt secure, because deep down, she believed she was not enough. One day, while attending a seminar on the power of the subconscious, she recognized her old script. She began affirming daily, "I am enough. I celebrate my uniqueness. My worth is not in comparison but in my own God-given identity." She visualized herself succeeding, journaled her strengths, and even practiced forgiving her parents. In time, Elena experienced a breakthrough. Not only did her confidence soar, but she also found herself in healthier relationships and even started a business that thrived. Her subconscious had shifted from the old script to a new one. What once held her captive became the very fuel for her transformation. Your subconscious was shaped in childhood, but you are not doomed to remain its prisoner. You have the power to revisit those early scripts, identify the beliefs that no longer serve you, and plant new truths that align with your vision for the future. Childhood may have written the first draft, but you hold the pen now. The subconscious is like clay. It may have been molded one way in your earliest years, but with intentional practice, it can be reshaped into a vessel of strength, freedom, and joy. Living on autopilot. Have you ever driven home from work, only to realize you don't remember most of the journey? Or brushed your teeth, dressed for the day, and checked your phone, all while your mind was elsewhere? That's not your conscious mind at work, that's your subconscious running the show. Studies estimate that up to 95% of what we do every day is controlled by the subconscious mind. Think about that, only 5% of our daily life is the result of conscious, deliberate decision-making. The rest, our tone of voice, our posture, the way we greet people, our eating habits, our stress responses, is directed by hidden programming. This is why change can feel so difficult. You don't consciously decide to procrastinate, overeat, snap at a loved one, or doubt yourself. These patterns are stored in the subconscious as habits and automatic responses. Unless you bring them into awareness and reprogram them, they continue to play like a looped song in the background of your life. The power of habits. Habits are the language of the subconscious. They are repeated behaviors that, over time, become automatic. Once ingrained, they require little to no conscious effort. This is both a gift and a curse. It's a gift because positive habits like brushing your teeth, exercising, or praying daily can become effortless. You don't have to convince yourself each time your subconscious takes over. But it's a curse because negative habits, overeating, self-criticism, scrolling aimlessly on your phone, or avoiding challenges, also become automatic, sabotaging progress. Here's the good news: habits can be reprogrammed. Neuroscientists speak of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. When you repeat a new behavior often enough, the subconscious builds new neural pathways, gradually replacing old ones. At first, it feels uncomfortable. But over time, what was once hard becomes natural. Emotional triggers, the subconscious at work. Your subconscious doesn't only store habits, it also holds emotional triggers. These are automatic reactions wired into you by past experiences. Think about it. Why does a certain song make you nostalgic? Why does one critical comment ruin your whole day? Why do you feel anxious before a presentation, even when you're prepared? That's your subconscious pulling on stored emotional memory. A smell, a sound, or a facial expression can activate an old program instantly. This is why two people can experience the same event but respond completely differently. Their subconscious mind is interpreting reality based on past conditioning. Once you become aware of this, you gain power. Instead of being a puppet of old triggers, you can pause, breathe, and consciously choose a new response, subconscious patterns in relationships. Your subconscious shapes not only your habits but also your relationships. If you subconsciously believe you're unworthy of love, you may sabotage healthy relationships or cling to toxic ones. If you believe people can't be trusted, you'll constantly look for betrayal, even when none exists. If you subconsciously equate love with sacrifice, you may give and give until you are drained. On the flip side, if your subconscious holds beliefs of worthiness, trust, and abundance, you'll naturally attract relationships that reflect those beliefs. People who seem lucky in love aren't truly lucky, they are simply operating from subconscious programming that aligns with healthy love. Subconscious influence on success and money. Your subconscious also writes the script for your financial life and career success. Think about it, two people may start with the same education, the same skills, and even the same opportunities. One thrives, while the other struggles. Why? Often, the difference lies not in talent but in subconscious beliefs. If your subconscious holds a scarcity mindset, there's never enough, you'll unconsciously make decisions that keep you broke. If it holds a worthiness wound, I don't deserve success, you'll self-sabotage promotions or business opportunities. If it equates wealth with greed, you may push money away without realizing it. But when the subconscious is reprogrammed with beliefs like I am worthy of abundance or money is a tool for freedom and impact, you naturally begin to notice opportunities, take risks, and align with prosperity. Hidden patterns, the invisible chains. Many of the obstacles you face today are not conscious choices but subconscious patterns. Have you noticed repeating cycles in your life, always ending up with the same type of partner, constantly leaving jobs at the same stage of growth, struggling with health despite trying every diet, setting big goals but never following through? These aren't random coincidences. They are subconscious programs replaying themselves, like software bugs in the system. Until you become conscious of the pattern and reprogram it, the cycle continues. How to recognize subconscious patterns? Here are some questions to expose subconscious influence in your daily life. What do I always seem to struggle with, no matter how hard I try? What fears or doubts automatically arise when I think about success? How do I usually respond when I feel stressed, criticized, or challenged? A real-life example. Take Marcus, a talented designer who repeatedly missed deadlines. Consciously, he told himself he wanted success. But subconsciously, he had absorbed the belief in childhood that if I stand out, I'll be criticized. His subconscious created procrastination as a protective mechanism. When Marcus finally identified this pattern, he began reprogramming it with affirmations like, "It's safe for me to succeed. I shine without fear. My gifts are meant to be seen." He also practiced visualization, imagining himself submitting projects on time and receiving positive recognition. Over time, his subconscious shifted. Deadlines no longer triggered fear, and his career flourished. Your daily life is a reflection of your subconscious programming. The way you brush your teeth, the way you respond to stress, the way you handle money, the way you love, it's all rooted in hidden scripts. But here's the empowering truth: once you recognize the patterns, you can rewrite them. Your subconscious is not your enemy, it's your most powerful ally. It just needs direction. When you feed it new instructions through conscious practice, it transforms your habits, your relationships, your career, and your entire life. Why techniques matter? The subconscious is like fertile soil, it will grow whatever seeds you plant. If you do nothing, weeds of doubt, fear, and limitation take root, often planted by others. But if you deliberately sow seeds of positivity, abundance, and strength, your subconscious begins to work for you instead of against you. The challenge is that you can't reprogram the subconscious through logic alone. You can't simply decide to stop worrying, to feel worthy, or to change habits. The subconscious doesn't respond to willpower, it responds to repetition, emotion, and imagery. That's where powerful techniques come in. These are proven ways to access and influence the subconscious, turning it into your greatest tool for transformation. 1. Visualization. The subconscious speaks in images. Your subconscious doesn't think in words, it thinks in pictures and emotions. That's why visualization is one of the most powerful tools for reprogramming. How it works: when you vividly imagine a scenario, say, giving a confident speech, enjoying wealth, or living in a healthy body, your subconscious doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. It begins to create neural pathways as though the event were actually happening. Practical exercise: sit quietly and close your eyes. Picture your goal as if it's already real. Feel the joy, relief, pride, or peace that comes with it. Add as much detail as possible: sights, sounds, textures, even smells. Repeat daily for 5 to 10 minutes. Over time, this mental rehearsal programs the subconscious to make decisions and take actions that align with the vision. 2. Affirmations: words that reshape belief. While the subconscious doesn't primarily operate in words, repeated words with emotion eventually seep into its programming. This is the power of affirmations. Keys to effective affirmations: use the present tense: I am not, I will be. Make them positive: I am worthy of success, not I am not a failure. I attract loving and supportive relationships. Repeating affirmations daily, especially before bed or after waking, takes advantage of the mind's receptive state. 3. Hypnosis: unlocking the gateway. Hypnosis is not some mystical trick, it's a natural state of focused relaxation where the conscious mind takes a backseat and the subconscious becomes highly suggestible. Why it works: in hypnosis, the analytical, skeptical conscious mind relaxes. Positive suggestions slip past the filter and embed in the subconscious. Hypnosis can help with overcoming fears, quitting smoking, weight loss, improving confidence, and more. You don't necessarily need a hypnotherapist. There are guided hypnosis audios designed for self-use. 4. Meditation: clearing the noise. Meditation quiets the constant chatter of the conscious mind, allowing you to access deeper layers of awareness. In stillness, the subconscious becomes more visible and receptive. Benefits for subconscious reprogramming: brings awareness to hidden thoughts and feelings, creates space between trigger and reaction, enhances focus, making visualization and affirmations more powerful. Simple practice: focus on your breath for 10 to 15 minutes. When thoughts arise, notice them without judgment and return to breathing. After meditation, plant affirmations or visualize your goals. This timing is powerful because the subconscious is calm and open. 5. Journaling: writing to rewire. Writing bypasses the surface-level chatter of the mind and brings hidden subconscious patterns to light. 2 forms of journaling: reflective journaling: write down your fears, beliefs, and recurring thoughts. This exposes subconscious programs. Future self-journaling: write as if your desired reality is already true. Example: I am grateful for the freedom my thriving business gives me. When you repeatedly write new narratives, your subconscious begins to adopt them as truth. 6. Repetition and consistency: one of the most overlooked keys to subconscious reprogramming is repetition. The subconscious is like a muscle, it only strengthens with consistent training. A single affirmation won't change your life. Daily affirmations for months will. One visualization won't transform your habits. Daily rehearsal builds new wiring. Sporadic journaling won't shift deep beliefs. Regular writing rewrites your identity. Think of it like brushing your teeth. Small, daily practices prevent decay and build long-term health. 7. Emotional intensity: the fuel for change. The subconscious is most receptive when strong emotion is involved. That's why we remember heartbreak, failure, or trauma so vividly. They carried high emotional energy. To reprogram positively, combine emotion with practice. Smile, laugh, and feel gratitude as you affirm abundance. Visualize your dream while feeling the joy of already living it. Write your goals with passion, not as dull routines. Emotion supercharges the subconscious, making new beliefs stick faster. 8. Sleep programming: the nighttime gateway. The minutes before sleep and after waking are golden windows for subconscious reprogramming. In these states, the brain operates in theta waves, which are deeply suggestible. Bedtime ritual idea: listen to affirmations or guided meditations as you drift off. Place your journal near your bed and write gratitude goals before sleep. Visualize your dream life just before closing your eyes. Your subconscious will marinate in those thoughts throughout the night, making sleep one of the most powerful reprogramming tools available. 9. Environment and influence: your subconscious is always recording, not just from your words, but from your environment. If you surround yourself with negativity, toxic people, or constant bad news, your subconscious absorbs it as reality. If you surround yourself with uplifting books, positive mentors, and empowering conversations, your subconscious records that. Instead, the people you spend time with are not neutral. They are either strengthening your subconscious toward growth or pulling it back into limitation. 10. Action: the final seal. Reprogramming isn't just mental, it requires physical action. When you visualize abundance but never take steps to invest, build, or create, the subconscious doesn't get full reinforcement. Each small action in alignment with your new belief tells your subconscious, this is who I am now. Over time, action belief equals transformation. Closing this section, the subconscious is not changed by chance, it's changed by practice. Visualization, affirmations, hypnosis, meditation, journaling, emotional intensity, sleep programming, environment, and action are not isolated tricks. They are a toolkit. When combined and practiced consistently, they open the door to a new life. The key is not perfection but persistence. Even 5 minutes daily can begin to reshape the deepest programs, building a new identity, how the subconscious shapes who you become. The power of identity. Every human being operates from a hidden script, their identity. This isn't just who you think you are, it's who your subconscious has decided you are. Your identity dictates your choices, behaviors, and results. For instance, if your subconscious identity is I'm not good with money, you'll subconsciously sabotage opportunities to earn or keep it. If your subconscious identity is I'm shy, you'll avoid networking, speaking up, or pursuing leadership roles, even if consciously you want to. If your subconscious identity is I'm a disciplined achiever, you'll naturally wake up earlier, stay consistent, and push through challenges. Identity is destiny. And the most empowering truth is, identity is programmable. Why willpower fails without identity change? You can set goals, make resolutions, and push with discipline, but if your subconscious identity doesn't align, you'll always bounce back. Think of someone trying to quit smoking. If they say, I'm trying to quit, their identity is still I'm a smoker. If they say, I don't smoke, their subconscious begins to accept a new identity. This subtle shift makes all the difference. Behavior follows identity. That's why so many people cycle through diets, productivity hacks, or financial strategies, because they never change the underlying identity that drives their choices. The subconscious identity loop. Your subconscious creates a self-fulfilling loop. 1. Beliefs. What you believe about yourself shapes your 2. Identity, which then influences your 3. Actions, which reinforce your 4. Results, which confirm your beliefs. Example: belief, I'm not good enough. Identity, I'm an average person, not meant for greatness. Actions, avoid risks, procrastinate, settle for less. Results, stay stuck, confirming the belief. To break the loop, you must intervene at the subconscious belief identity level, designing a new identity. The question then becomes, how do you build a new subconscious identity? Here are the steps. 1. Clarity. Who do you want to become? Most people vaguely say, I want to be successful or I want to be happy. But the subconscious thrives on clarity and detail. Ask yourself, what does my best self look like? How do they think, act, dress, walk, speak? What habits do they live by daily? How do they handle challenges? Write down a vivid description of your ideal identity. Example: I am disciplined, calm, and creative. I handle setbacks with grace. I attract opportunities easily. I am a leader who inspires others. This becomes the blueprint for subconscious reprogramming. 2. Affirm identity, not just goals. Instead of saying, I want to lose weight, affirm, I am a healthy, energetic person who makes strong food and lifestyle choices. Instead of I want to earn more money, affirm, I am a wealth builder, an excellent steward of resources, and money flows naturally to me. Notice how identity-based affirmations feel permanent. They're not about what you do, but about who you are. 3. Act as if. I embodied visualization. Don't just visualize success, live it in small ways now. Want to be a confident speaker? Stand tall, make eye contact, practice speaking even in small conversations. Want to be a disciplined achiever? Start by keeping one daily promise to yourself, like making your bed or journaling for 5 minutes. Want to be wealthy? Start treating your current money with respect, budget it, track it, invest wisely. These micro-actions send powerful signals to the subconscious. This is who I am now. 4. Surround yourself with reinforcing environments. Identity is influenced by environment. If you want to adopt the identity of fit and healthy, but all your friends are sedentary and unhealthy eaters, your subconscious gets conflicting signals. Create alignment. Books, podcasts, and mentors that reflect your new identity, communities where your desired identity is the norm, physical spaces, a tidy room, a productive desk that reinforce your self-image. 5. Narrative rewriting. Tell yourself a new story. Every identity is a story you've been repeating. I'm not good with relationships. I always fail. I'm not athletic. To build a new identity, you must tell new stories. Example, instead of I'm always unlucky in love, try I'm learning to attract healthier relationships every day. I value myself, so I naturally connect with people who value me. Your subconscious listens to every story you repeat. It doesn't care if it's true, it only cares if it's consistent. The identity shift in action. Think of famous transformations. Arnold Schwarzenegger once described how he didn't just lift weights, he saw himself as Mr. Olympia before the world did. His subconscious accepted the identity first, and his body followed. Oprah Winfrey didn't rise from poverty by clinging to the identity of a poor girl. She adopted the identity of a visionary, leader, and storyteller long before the world gave her recognition. Nelson Mandela held the identity of a free and dignified man even while in prison for 27 years, so much so that when freedom came, he embodied leadership rather than bitterness. These are proofs that identity comes first, results second. Overcoming resistance. At first, your subconscious may resist. Old identities are sticky because they've been rehearsed for years. You may hear inner voices like, "Who do you think you are?" That's not you. You've tried before and failed. This is normal. It's your subconscious trying to protect its existing programming. The key is to persist. With repetition, the new identity becomes more comfortable than the old one. Mistakes, failures, and the subconscious, turning setbacks into power. The subconscious view of failure. From childhood, we are taught to see mistakes as bad. We're punished in school for wrong answers, scolded at home for accidents, and laughed at in social circles for not measuring up. Slowly, the subconscious builds a strong association. Mistake equals shame, failure equals I'm not good enough. This wiring is dangerous because it keeps people stuck in fear. Instead of experimenting, learning, and growing, many stay within the narrow boundaries of what feels safe to avoid failure. But here's the truth, failure is not evidence of inadequacy, it's proof that you're trying, stretching, and evolving. The subconscious, when trained correctly, can reinterpret failure not as danger, but as data. The growth versus fixed subconscious. Psychologist Carol Dweck's work on mindset shows us two lenses through which the subconscious sees failure. Fixed mindset, if I fail, it means I'm not smart or capable. Better avoid trying. Growth mindset, if I fail, it means I'm learning and improving. The more I try, the more I grow. The fixed mindset is a prison. The growth mindset is freedom. Both are subconscious programs. Imagine training your subconscious to expect mistakes as part of the journey, like a child falling when learning to walk. Suddenly, setbacks no longer derail you. They fuel you, reprogramming how you process setbacks. To transform your subconscious response to failure, try these steps. 1. Reframe immediately. Instead of saying, I failed, say, I just found one way that doesn't work. This is feedback, not final. Every expert was once a beginner. This subtle shift re-educates the subconscious to see mistakes as neutral, even positive. 2. Detach self-worth from outcomes. The subconscious often equates results with identity. I failed, therefore I'm a failure. But identity is separate from performance. You are not your mistakes, you are the one learning through them. Affirm, I am valuable and capable regardless of this outcome. 3. Anchor to a bigger vision. When setbacks happen, the subconscious tends to focus on the immediate pain. This hurts. This is embarrassing. Shift the focus to your long-term vision. This is just one step on the road to my greater destiny. By zooming out, the subconscious sees failure as temporary rather than permanent. Famous failures that became fuel. History is filled with people whose subconscious refused to let mistakes define them. Thomas Edison made 1,000 unsuccessful attempts at inventing the light bulb. When asked how he felt about failing so many times, he said, I didn't fail. I just found 1,000 ways that won't work. His subconscious identity was that of an inventor, not a failure. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. His subconscious could have internalized that insult and quit, but instead, he held onto his creative identity and built an empire. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Imagine if her subconscious accepted that script. Instead, she reframed rejection as redirection. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. That moment could have broken him. Instead, it became fuel, training his subconscious to hunger for excellence. These stories prove that the greatest achievers are not people who never fail, they're people whose subconscious interprets failure differently. The science of learning through mistakes. Neurologically, failure is powerful. Every time you make a mistake, your brain creates new neural pathways as it searches for better strategies. This process is called neuroplasticity. Your subconscious is like a muscle, it grows stronger through resistance. When you avoid mistakes, you rob yourself of growth. When you embrace them, you accelerate subconscious learning. This means failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it, a new subconscious mantra for mistakes. Try adopting these subconscious beliefs. Mistakes are evidence that I am growing. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Failure is not personal, it's a process. I learn quickly because I'm willing to try and adjust. Repeat them until your subconscious accepts them as natural responses. Practical exercise, the failure journal. One powerful technique is keeping a failure journal. Each day, write down one thing you attempted that didn't go perfectly, what you learned from it, how it brings you closer to your goal. Over time, your subconscious will stop fearing mistakes and start seeking them as opportunities for growth, transforming pain into power. The subconscious also stores the emotional sting of failure. That's why many people hesitate to try again after a setback. They still feel the pain. To transform this, acknowledge the emotion. Say, yes, this hurt. Yes, it was disappointing. Release the charge. Use deep breathing, journaling, or meditation to let the emotional weight move through you. Extract the lesson. Ask, what wisdom does this mistake give me? Redirect the energy. Channel that pain into motivation to refine and improve. What once paralyzed you becomes rocket fuel. The subconscious truth about failure. The most liberating realization is this: failure is not final unless you stop. Your subconscious only writes the story you tell it. If you say, this is the end, it believes you. If you say, this is the beginning of my greatest comeback, it also believes you. The choice of story is always yours. Final thoughts for Part 7. Failures and mistakes are not threats to your identity, they are raw material for greatness. The subconscious doesn't need to fear them, it can be trained to welcome them. Every master once stumbled. Every hero once fell. The only difference is, their subconscious was reprogrammed to see failure as part of the journey, not the end of it. So remember this: your mistakes do not disqualify you, they define you. Not as broken, but as growing stronger. When your subconscious fully accepts that truth, no setback can hold you back.